Yes, Professor Shrikant, this is Global Digest think tank group, international think tank group. We cover different region, China, India, Australia, America, Europe, all kind of, countries, even Africa. We cover different geopolitics, international issue. Shanghai Cooperation Organization was recently, they have a meeting in, what they are talking and what is a good result or what is a bad result from SCO. So can you explain me if you have any knowledge about SCO activity there?
Thank you, sir. It's glad to be with you. First of all, let me congratulate you that you have introduced a very nice platform for the entire world.
Yes.
So, as of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, let me clarify myself. I was not attending the meeting that held in India, both meetings. But since, as all we know, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization is a Central Asian organization that is multilateral in nature. Presently in India, we have two summits, two meetings. We had two meetings. First of one was of defense ministers meeting, and the subsequent meeting was held at Goa. That was of foreign ministers meeting. The
Yes.
Shanghai Cooperation Organization, that is prominently known as the Russia and China centric organization, which
Right.
aims to create balance in Central Asia against the US. In India's summit, India, which is a emerging power in the region and the world, it is trying to pursue and rebuild SCO so that it can maintain or it can establish new views for the world. Shanghai Cooperation Organization can act as a balance of power in the emerging world. India does have its own interest in Central Asia. For India, Central Asia is an extended neighborhood region, and therefore India has decided to extend itself in that region with the help of SCO. Thank you, sir.
Right. Because, India is South Asia, and, this, as you mentioned, SOC is originally, their intention is Central Asia. Probably their, initial planning is only for Central Asia, but it was expanded. Now, I guess India is full membership, Pakistan is full membership from South Asia. There is no membership from any full membership from South Asia. They are a little bit observer or a kind of Cambodia and Burma. It's going to be observer, but no full membership. And Japan, Korea are not member, and Australia Pacific region are no member. Mostly Russia, China, these two countries initiated, and then other, I think, Central Asian country. So
yes,
mostly that is for Central Asia, as we know. And the name itself is Shanghai. It doesn't make any sense about which region or which geopolitically. It's just a city name, So, however, it's enlarging, and it seems Russia is giving all the cooperation in the middle of their own crisis in the former Soviet country between Russia and Ukraine, and other Central Asia country, a small country. So they are a kind of fully submitting into China orbit, something like that. I don't know India intention to join. Probably because Pakistan was a member, India also accompanying Pakistan to be a member. Otherwise, power division between Pakistan and India maybe probably happen if India is not a member. So that is my guess. So as a host, what India has a role they can play this year?
So let me clarify myself that the very view, since Pakistan has entered into Shanghai Cooperation Organization, doesn't mean that India should participate in SCO. India does have its own interest in Central Asia. The
Okay,
Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which was incepted in 1997, at that time, India was reluctant and it did not have any global partnership as earlier, which was in Cold War period. India had lost its ally, that was USSR, and in the emerging world, which was hegemonic by US, it was seeking another partner, or it was seeking another role partner in the global scenario. Shanghai Cooperation Organization was a tool for India so that it can create its own outweigh, or it can create its own weight in the global scenario. For the same reason, India joined the SCO, and SCO does have its own objectives. It primarily focuses on terrorism and associated issues. India is major country which has been suffering from terrorism since its inception. That's why India has joined SCO. There is no view, or we cannot accept that India has joined SCO just because Pakistan was a partner or Pakistan was interested to join SCO. Yes.
I see. You did better clarification. I mean, India is the only democracy country in SCO group, you know. The other are not really democracy, like Pakistan also not very good democracy. And so India is probably the only, in terms of ideology, democracy country. So how you can mingle with those authoritarian country and non-democratic country being the only democracy country, well, maybe it will be difficult to promote democracy among SCO. Even I don't know, India is going to sliding down or losing democracy, and it's likely to becoming authoritarian. Is there any sign or any your view?
No. India strongly adheres democracy, its ideology. Uh, in SEO, India has several times mentioned its adherence to democracy. However, we can accept the thing that many Central Asian countries, predominantly China, and as we have discussed about Pakistan, these countries do not have, or they are lagging behind in terms of democracy. India strongly believe that democracy can be a prominent ideology that can establish a balanced state or a balanced world which will lead prosperity in the global scenario.
So you are sure India are not going to lose democracy by mingling with those non-democracy country, as probably you said it won't happen, right? But I'm not sure. I'm not sure India position in the future, because India is not much progressing democracy since independence. Your democracy level is the same during independence and till today. There's nothing improving. I mean, like the South Korea, Japan example, their democracy are improving, and now they becoming liberal democracy. Economy is growing, and human rights are improving, and freedom are expanding, and is going to be liberal democracy. But unfortunately, I saw India is the same, I mean, position, status of democracy since independence. Nothing democracy is progress. I mean, democracy has different layer to, improve. What's wrong?
No, it is not such so. It is not such so. I strongly repudiate your opinion. I would like to abjure your voice, or I deny that Indian democracy is not progressing since its independence. See, since 1990s, in the early period when the USSR was collapsed, many Western writers or Western scholars believed that the democracy is progressing throughout the world. See, the failed state index is declining day by day. That is the global scenario. I can accept that the failed state index is showing that democracy is not progressing throughout the world, but it is not entirely the case for India. India is progressing in terms of democracy. See, the population of India has been actively participating in democratic setup. The civil society in India is actively placing its views in terms of environment, civil society participation, or human rights. In this case, we can say that Indian democracy is progressively marching ahead in the new millennium.
I mean, you consolidated democracy. I agree that, but I mean, beyond consolidated democracy, you I did not much see. Example, I mean, the military cannot coup, or they cannot overtake civilian government in India. It's strongly difficult for military coup, or to collapse civilian or rule civilian government in India case compared to other Pakistan or Burma. The civilian government easily collapse and military take over, and military coup can happen. But India is not that easy, and it cannot happen. But I mean, beyond that civilian rule, there should be economic growth, and I mean, the at the knowledge, or I mean, civilian intellectual level and education level should be also higher. It should be grow better and better, but still many population, their political ideology, political knowledge, not much improving. I can say it was a little bit, even it was going down after the rise of BJP, Hinduism, because of they are not become open-minded, they become narrow-minded to be Hinduism, extreme Hinduism. It's we can see, and sometimes even they oppress other minority religion, Muslim or Christian or other. I mean, in that point of view, I mean, it is not encourageable democracy. India.
See, the very view that the ongoing government, that is BJP government, is strictly propagating its ideology as majority-based ideology, which is dubbed as by some critics Hindutva-based ideology. It is not at all true. The India or Indian constitution is largely multicultural in the nature. The very fact that Indian constitution is adopted by the people themselves, and people can overthrow the government through constitutional means. So it doesn't mean that the BJP government, which is right wing in the nature, so it is not accepting the people's voice, or it is not representing the peoples at all. There are certain cases in terms of minority attacks or so on, but it does not indicate that the democracy is in peril. So we cannot say that the Indian democracy is entering to a scenario where it is in bad situation or it is in worst situation. Taking a particular case or taking a particular example as a major case cannot exemplify or cannot explain Indian democracy at broad spectrum.
Yeah, I mean, compared to before Congress, there was not much violence or religious violence after after BJP or Hindu extremists, once BJP is power, I saw Hindu extremism more increased. Like example in BJP stronghold Gujarat, there was a Muslim one, Maska, and also Orissa, where many Christian were oppressed. This we can see during the influence or the high power of BJP times. So that's why I have a comparison before and after BJP power.
No,
That is why it was a little bit discouraged through discourage of India democracy.
no. Apparently, the comparison seems pro-Western comparison. See, many Western writers in India, academia in India and abroad portray the picture of Indian polity in a way that is anti-minority or it is pro-Hindu in the nature. See, many political representatives, many academicians, many civil society members are from minority sections. The ongoing government is encouraging minorities in terms of their growth and development. It does not indicate that the government is anti minority in nature. So I already have said that minority uh, atrocities in some cases does not indicate that the government is pro-Hindu at all, or it is merely anti-minority in sense. So I want to just clarify your case that Indian government is merely pro-Hindu in nature.
I see. So, and also the other example is a regional role. I mean, India is the largest democracy and big democracy country. It should be, effectively play regional role for democratization in the region. But it is not encouraging. For example, in case of Burma, nowadays, India government really not supporting democracy activists or democratization or pro-democracy group or pro-democracy resistant inside Burma. They absolutely not support weapon for pro-democracy as a fighter. Even they did not have humanitarian system, especially from central government. Example, at the state level, they have the state level a little bit. They have support at the border area, but central government, they are no official. They never announce and they never have a plan to support for even Burmese democracy. Some are refugee in New Delhi. You can see they are not encouraged for Burmese refugee. That's in a democracy country. Compared to 1988, once there was a military coup and Burmese crisis. That time, Congress government support a lot of democracy activists compared to now BJP government. So this the thing different India behavior in the regional role.
Yeah, I would partially agree with your views, but see, humanitarian assistance to its neighborhood is our legacy. We can give an example of COVID pandemic crisis. So in that pandemic situation, India has offered humanitarian assistance to its neighboring countries as well as African countries. So we cannot say that Indian government, that is democratic government, is not offering humanitarian assistance. So in case of Burma, that is Myanmar, Indian government is aligning itself with its neighbors. The Indian policymakers have strictly adhered the policy that neighborhood first. We prefer our neighborhood as our way, as our path to development of the country itself and the region itself. We admit that a stable and peaceful neighborhood can help to all. And in that case, India has offered humanitarian assistance to many other countries. But in case of Burma, we can see that since 2022, 21, there is a change in the Burmese government system. There is a military junta in the Burma, and in that case, we can say that India is trying to make a rapport with Burma, but there are certain impediments from both sides. So there is the ongoing government in Burma is caretaker in the nature. There are certain issues in the foreign affairs and from Burma side and India side also. If the government in Burma is stable in nature, or the government in Burma is democratic in nature, in that case we can develop a long sustaining policy for both sides. We can see that there are several infrastructure projects carried out by India in Burma, but many of them couldn't be carried out in proper way just because there is no stable government from Naypyidaw. So that is the issue. Humanitarian assistance merely cannot be an indicator that India is a democratic country and India is adhering democracy for all. So it should be bilateral, or it should be a mutual process. Both government and people to people contact should be an tool to establish friendly gesture among two countries. Also, let me mention one thing, that the ongoing situation in Burma, which is causing refugee crisis for India. That is a major issue for discussion to both countries. The present government is taking strict position for any refugee encroachment in the Indian territory, and that is a major concern for many Burmese intellectual or academia. So it doesn't mean that Indian government is not striving for democracy in its neighboring countries. We are offering democratic assistance to Afghanistan also. So I don't think that India is not offering such democratic assistance to Burma.
Yes, the thing is, COVID cases are not just regional or neighbor issue. That is global epidemic, global issue. So that all the whole world helping each other. That is not necessary to related to democracy. So the other, as you said, bilateral issue, you are aware about stability and concern about security. That's why you might dealing with military junta. I mean, if you are dealing military junta as a neutral or a kind of you want to also support democracy, you should also, India should support uh, uh, as well as to the democratic group, but India is only siding with a junta, and they never supporting a democratic group. Even they allow Indian military, allow Indian intelligence, allow Burmese junta army to enter India territory and attack Burmese pro-democracy activists at the border. So that is a violation of international, international border. Why India not reacting? India should never allow, and even India should, absolutely ban or prohibit Burmese junta, violating Indian airspace. That they use it and they attack again the Burmese pro-democracy activists, not terrorists or not other insurgents. That purely they are challenging democracy. They don't care democracy, even at the heart of the biggest democracy country of India. So that is Burmese military behavior, but India position is not fair, and they are absolutely forgetting democracy group and even not equally supporting. That is the fact, if India equally supporting, they should also do some political thing and democratization thing with the opposition democratic group, especially at the border. It should be very India should supportive to the pro-democracy activists. We can distinguish which is a pro-democracy activist, which are not democracy activists. We can distinguish it. And the other thing, people to people also very bad cooperation between Burmese democracy population and Indian population. We don't have really no a kind of mechanism or a kind of platform communication between people to people like we are doing. These are the only
See,
people to people communication, intellectual community. There are no other platform. Indian government or Indian population has platform between democracy group together. They are supporting or encouraging or discussing any issue. There's nothing. That's why I'm engaging with you, Professor Srikant, and also I talk with other professor in India because we don't have other channel. So that's the reason I used to talk with many professors in because if India has enough intellectual and enough knowledge from the expert, they can make proper policy and proper
policy.
engagement.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there was a mistake at the refugee at the border issue, India airspace violation, and refugee arrested or deportation. There are many mistakes. I guess India people doesn't want to happen such thing, but because of policy mistake and why policy mistake? Because India people to people discussion are not there and there are no intellectual input with the policy maker. So these are the things.
See, I admit your view that there are certain loopholes from our side, that is Indian
Yes.
side, but it does not mean that the Indian government is not advocating democracy in the world. Uh, Before advocating democracy throughout the world, India does have its own national interest. To secure its territorial integrity is the foremost interest for India. Democracy will be the subsequent interest for any country. It is not in case of India. Just like any other country, India does secure its own territorial integrity, and any encroachment on the Indian territory is expelled by the central government. I admit very fact that the cases of deportation for Burmese people was not done accordingly, or it was not done in proper way. But it does not indicate that there is entire policy error. I accept the very fact that policymakers and the academia or the intellectual class of the country should go hand in hand. But you can see India is a vast country. There are perennial views among the people. So to accept Burmese refugees can be a voice for a particular section in India. It cannot be accepted by the throughout entire majority population. Northeast region, India's northeast region is a porous border which has caused several issues for Indian integrity in recent past. That's why the BJP government has take stint operations in that region. So I think that the government policies are going to some extent quite well. There can be certain issues which needs to be discussed, which needs to be properly handled. And if they are handled, if they are sorted properly, I think that the bilateral relations will go quite well. And in the case of democracy and propagation of democracy in Burma, that is Myanmar, that will be happen only with the participation from both sides. See, I agree that the ongoing situation in Burma is not conducive for the democracy. The caretaker caretaker government is not supporting democratic activity. They are not supporting democratic leader. They are detaining all those peoples. But it is the issue of Burma, and the Indian government, which has its own foreign policy, strictly believe that there should be no interference to the another country's internal interests. If the time demands, if it causes any hurdle, if it causes any issues for Indian national interest, only then it will be handled by the Indian government. We can see similar examples in case of Pakistan or Afghanistan also. Indian government never meddled in the internal affairs of Pakistan and Afghanistan. We believe that democracy can be a useful tool for the prosperity and growth of us all. And Indian government, Indian academia, Indian intellectual class are doing well, as in the case of our media, the Global Digest Media Forum. We are doing the same thing. We also believe that there should be democracy in Burma. I think that, but there are certain policy issues.
Right. I mean, the Northeast case, I know there was currently violence in Manipur state, but that is recently, in this month, April. I mean, this April, yes. And I mean, the Burmese issue is already 2 years since uh, 2 year 2 years ago. But that time, even without any problem at the time in Northeast India, India central government doing nothing as well. So that is the thing. But by luckily, Mizoram government is stick to help the state level. So that is we can see. I mean, what we can see and what is the data I'm just mentioning. So that is the reality is like that. And the other thing, if you see geopolitics or international politics, if India want to strongly defend democracy, if they want to defend their own democracy position, I mean, for India democracy as well, to defend their country democracy, they need surrounding their country should be also strong democracy supporter and democracy country. That will only make healthy India. Otherwise, if India is surrounded by a lot of authoritarian, non-democratic, it will be very
Yes,
weak
yes.
and very danger and risky for India. That's why my point is India should think about ahead, not just
Yeah, yeah. I totally
not
agree. I
just
totally
defending security. They just plan how neighbors should become democracy. That is for their self to defend
agree.
India democracy. That is the point I want to mention India. That's why India should involve for democratization in
Definitely. I
Burma.
I
Why
strongly
India
I strongly
why India
yes,
should
yes, correct.
for democracy in Burma. That is my point. So, Professor Srikan, as you said, India willing to play for regional democratization. As I mentioned, my point is India should think about ahead to promote democracy in neighboring country in order to prevent India democracy or to save or to be secure India possession democracy, not to be risky democracy. So that's why India should involve and support Burmese democratization. Why it is important is they have their own India democracy safety. So as well as
Yeah,
you said for Afghanistan.
yeah. I totally agree with your view. India should continuously pursue for the democracy in neighboring areas, neighboring states, and the neighboring region. Myanmar is an essential neighbor for us. We should strive so that there should be a stable and long lasting democracy in Burma. It will be helpful for both countries. It will be helpful for the development of Myanmar as well as for India also.
So if India, as you said, India interest for promoting and assisting in African as well. In 2021, when African was collapsed, India did not play a big role. Even, African is part of SCO area, the region of SCO. There are no SCO are actively involved for Pakistan crisis. No, I mean Afghanistan crisis. Where they are missing. Where is SCO or where is India during Afghan collapse in 2021?
Yeah. See, as we can see from 2021, India has closed its ties with Afghanistan, diplomatic ties with Afghanistan. India believes that any terrorist activity is an impediment for the development of bilateral relations. So we can see that the change regime change in Afghanistan has harmed both countries. In 2021, the Indian embassy was attacked by the terrorist. Attack to diplomacy or embassy is an indication that mutual discussion can resume only after bilateral cooperation or bilateral discussions, and that's why India has kept itself aloof from Afghanistan. But in other areas, India is continuously helping Afghanistan to come out of its terrorism. India is supporting to develop its infrastructure, and Indian diaspora in Afghanistan is acquiring support from New Delhi. So we are in touch with Afghanistan, but our diplomatic ties are cut down 2021.
Yes, in my opinion, before Afghan collapse,
Hello.
yes, in my opinion, before Afghanistan collapsed, during American control, and at that time, however, even though American control, Afghanistan is still on the way to democracy system. At least they can, struggle for democracy in Afghanistan. Compared to now, Taliban regime, there is no hope or not at all possible for democracy installing the practice of democracy in political system in Afghanistan no more. During before government, I mean before Taliban government, Ghani government at the time, even American control, India can involve and strongly support Ghani government and in Afghan democracy at the time.
Yes.
It will be much better, and even Afghan could be still democracy till now.
Yes.
But I guess India missed the opportunity as well. They could not, strongly back Afghan democracy at the time. I mean, it's a big opportunity, I guess.
Yeah. Apparently, it was a great opportunity for India, but India's interest in Kabul were far distant from merely installing or merely sustaining the democracy. The shift in the regime in Afghanistan was a cataclysmic event. It was happened rapidly. It happened in a daytime event. Other causes to deterioration of democracy in Afghanistan were withdrawal of US. India's interest in Afghanistan were confined to the infrastructure building and expanding its national interest in the region. It was securing its diaspora from the region. Apart from this, India was supporting the Republic government of Afghanistan, but the situation changed rapidly, such rapidly that India could not handle the situation in Afghanistan, and as we can accept that it was a great opportunity for us that we can rally for the democracy in the Afghanistan too.
You know, both biggest democracy, American and India, I think they did not have proper coordination, and they are not any official coordination how to handle Afghan democracy before collapsing. I mean, bilateral between India and US coordination, or India, US, Pakistan, three-country coordination. But all democracy country, you are never coordinated and not discussing about
To
Afghanistan
some extent,
democracy, right?
no.
I'm not sure.
To some extent, India tried its best so that the democracy in Afghanistan can be maintained for a long duration. India tried to include Afghanistan as its eighth member in the SARC, and India tried to rally against the terrorism in Afghanistan for a long tenure. But the shift in the government couldn't be handled by any government. Either it can be handled, and it could have been handled by America or from India. It was the local issue. It was the issue of Afghanistan origin. But I accept the very fact that the continuation of democracy could have had been helpful for India and the world a lot in case of Afghanistan.
Yeah, yes, I believe there could be a lot of complicated or internal complexity as well in Afghanistan. But you know, that time Afghan has very strong army. You know, they have more than Taliban army, and they have much better weapon. I mean, in terms of all this weapon and strength with the support of America. And if India, Pakistan also together support Afghan democracy country at that time, there are no reason Afghans can be fall down in Taliban hands. Taliban cannot anything able to fight back, not just Afghan strong army with the back of America, India, Pakistan. But I think there are some the arrangement or policy mistake among democracy country between India, US, or India, US, Pakistan, or I think you are absolutely fail and no coordination in the case of Pakistan, Afghanistan democracy. That made Taliban easily enter Afghan, and they can easily control. Otherwise, I don't see geopolitically Taliban can win this kind of with strong background with US, India, Pakistan.
I admit the very fact that there should be a concerted or coordinated effort to restore democracy in the failing states throughout the world. It should not be confined for the Afghanistan, or it should not be confined for Pakistan or Myanmar or South or Southeast Asia. Many countries around the world are failing themselves in terms of democracy. Many authoritarian governments are rising. In recent cases, we are witnessing many African countries are going through same, and restoring democracy throughout the world should be a motto, or it should be an global agenda for many major countries or major powers and UN also. It should be a concerted effort. I admit the very fact.
Yes, I see Afghanistan case is very a big example
Sad for us.
geopolitics.
Yeah, it was a sad example. It was a sad example.
It will be bad example as well. I guess it is bad.
Yes, I agree the fact that
geopolitics and regional issue. Maybe Afghan and Pakistan maybe not much interest because of Muslim issue or Islamic issue. There may be hatred for America, or I don't know India case. India also even though not Islam issue, but the other way, India also not much interested American role in Afghanistan, and so all are uh, opposing each other. Pakistan different, India different, America different. So not coordination, anything for Afghan democracy, Afghan democratization. In that situation, Taliban enter and democracy is collapsed in Afghanistan. That is very bad example in.
Yeah. I'm very critical in the case of US and its agenda to support democracy. It is largely interest-based agenda for US. They strictly believe the conservation of democracy in terms of their preserving national interest. They can enter or they only meddle in the particular case if there is their preservation of national interest. Else, otherwise, they won't enter to that particular region. They have nothing to do. As it is my personal opinion, they have nothing to do in if there is no national interest for the Washington.
Yes, I know there are a lot of Afghanistan people, Islam phobia, and they are absolutely, they have hatred toward America. And I mean, Islamic issue is the other thing, but their democracy issue, they also think about that. But the people mindset also psychologically also a lot of problem, I guess, inside Afghanistan. Although I don't know detail, that can be easily they don't want to cooperate or they are not stand by or even not stand by with America. They should stand by on their feet, their own democracy. They should able to defend, but they did not do neither with America or neither their own feet. They did
Other
not
democratic countries also.
so
The NATO countries also. They didn't had any interest to
up.
preserve democracy.
Yeah.
That was a major issue.
So there's bad example of Afghan case among democracy country, biggest democracy. They supposed to do, they could not do democracy.
They could not. Yeah.
Understand.
It is a global issue. Yeah.
Apart from democracy country, I mean, SCO organization, any officially they have a meeting or they discuss about Afghan issue before collapsing or after collapsing Afghan. Is there any discussion or meeting in SCO officially? Do you know any idea?
No. See, there are the Shanghai Cooperation Organization is largely on the very view that it is anti-Western organization. Its interest areas are focused largely on the Russia and China. As in present situation, we can see the Russia and China are going hands in hand. Both countries, with the help of SCO, or they are using SCO as a tool to expand their interest in the region, that is Central Asia. They have nothing to do with in the case of Afghanistan. Their interests are restricted to Azerbaijan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and other Central Asian countries. They have less interest in Afghanistan. And in terms of SCO, Russia views SCO as an extension or as a tool to propagate its defense interests. But in case of China, SCO is a medium to expand its economic interests. So they hardly pay any attention on the SCO podium or SCO platform for Afghanistan or other democratic issues. The SCO is a forum which largely focus on the interest propagation in terms of economy or defense, and that's why the SCO could not or SCO didn't discuss any aspect in terms of Afghanistan. There is a issue or there is a pertinent issue in case of terrorism. SCO works on terrorism, but it was not associated with Afghanistan. The Central Asian region does have its own terrorism issues, but these are hardly discussed. See, SCO is flawed with, or it is trapped by two superpowers or two great powers. That is, one is Russia and another one is China. So its agendas, its objectives are confined, where are getting confined just because of these two countries. Other small countries could not voice themselves. So
So each
terrorism gets neglected on many cases, in many cases.
so each mean SCO is just making agenda for China
Yes,
interest and
and
Russian interest.
Russia. Yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
other country members,
And that's why,
small
that's why,
country
that's
are just surrounding or just clapping hand what they are doing
yeah,
agenda. And
that's why.
SCO is not at all uh, responsible or take caring about regional issue. Afghanistan is definitely part of SCO,
Pertinent.
Central
Yeah,
Asia,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
very close in the middle of SCO, but they
Yeah.
never concern or they never consider about nation building about Afghanistan or rebuilding about Afghanistan. So yeah, it's no sense nonsense about SCO related to
No,
Afghanistan.
no, 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 no,
You
no,
know,
no, no, no. See,
there's no,
I let me.
it made no sense about
No, no.
Afghanistan SCO.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It not in case of Afghanistan, but let me clarify myself. In the recent meeting that was held in Goa, the Indian Foreign Minister placed an important view in case of SCO. India has placed its opinion that SCO should restructure itself in terms of modern global scenario. It has become stagnant in many cases. As I have already discussed its flaws, India views that SCO should not confine itself to particular geopolitical scenario. It should expand itself for the entire world. It should not confine itself merely just against, or it should not confine itself as anti-Western approach. It should accept other views also. And apart from that, India has made a pertinent view, or it has made a pertinent note on that particular meeting, that India has said that the proceeding of SCO should be in English, so that the proceeding or the entire discussion, the dialogue would be helpful for other countries also. So SCO needs ground changes in its apparatus, and India is pursuing for the same. With
So
such changes,
in
with such changes,
Goa meeting, at the Goa meeting, is there any achievement or any success about India proposal, or what is the outcome?
yeah, yeah, yeah. India has made a certain beneficial views. See, prior to Shanghai Cooperation Organization, in the case of SARC also, India had entered into disagreement with Pakistan. Whenever there are two countries, one is Pakistan and India, on a same platform, there is an issue of terrorism and Jammu Kashmir. India has refuted Pakistan on SCO ground that the bilateral issues will be discussed only if there is settlement, or only there is bilateral agreement over terrorism. First of all, Pakistan should solve the issue of terrorism on its ground. That was the first achievement of Shanghai Cooperation Organization Goa made. Another achievement of that meeting was the participating countries or participating members have unanimously accepted the official language English as its working language. Apart from this, Russia and China, both countries, although they are skeptical about each other, they have agreed with the very fact that the Ukraine crisis will be discussed by Russia and Ukraine themselves. China has kept itself aloof from that case. China won't meddle in that case, although Beijing has earlier published a white paper or its policy document or its document on that case, they have said that they have their own interest in Ukraine case and they are supporting Moscow. But in SCO Goa meeting, they have said that we won't meddle in that issue. So I think that it was successful to some extent, Goa meeting, for uh, global uh, global level. It was at global level.
Probably, I guess the at the SCO meeting, they never talk about military coup and the civil war and conflict in Burma. I think it should be one of agenda, but I
Yeah,
don't think they are discussing it.
yeah, it should get discussed, but it is confined to a particular geographical area. It has
But
its
that is
own
global issue, global issue.
yeah. I very accept. Terrorism is a global issue. Terrorism is the issue which is addressed by SCO. But I admit the military coup, which should be discussed. I think it should be discussed through all forums around the world. It may be
Right.
SCO, it may be BIMSTEC, it may be SARC, it may be UN, it may be NATO. All the forums should discuss this issue as a global issue so that any military coup in South Asia, in Southeast Asia, in Africa, it can be handled peacefully and in democratic way so
It's,
that people
it's,
can get.
it is not just peaceful military coup in Burma. It was, deliberately killing and attack innocent people and civilian. 100,000 of innocent died
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they fled.
there are
Their
genocides.
houses
There are,
are burned. Their villages are burned. All, humanitarian crisis. That not
yeah,
just simply coup. I mean, so that is
yeah, yeah.
very much a destruction in the country that
Mhm.
should be discussed. It should be at least agenda. I don't know why India foreign minister did not bring agenda on that issue. That is
Yeah, yeah,
very bad. It should bring because India foreign minister should uh, make agenda for that. That's very issue.
yeah. The very discussion of SCO was based on secure and security. The motto of SCO Goa meeting was secure. Secure. It is an acronym for that particular agenda. It was based on security, economic development, connectivity, unity, respect for sovereignty, and environmental protection. The entire SCO meeting held in India was largely based on environment and environmental issues. I admit the very fact that there should be a little bit, at least to some extent, there should be a discussion over uh, civil riots, or there should be a discussion on military coup, but it could not happen. That needs to be addressed by SCO and other forums. I believe I accept that fact. Yeah. I in my neighboring, sorry, uh, in my hometown, we had a meeting for W20, that is Women at 2020. Uh, that meeting was largely conducted for women and women related issues. Though I could not attend that meeting, but we had discussions, we had live discussions in the entire city, that is Aurangabad. G20 meetings. We had a lot of discussions by universities. We had a lot of discussions by many think tanks in our hometown. Other meetings are also going on. A meeting was held in Mumbai also. There is a meeting, scheduled meeting in Jammu Kashmir. I am propose. I'm planning to have at least one meeting being attended. I'm planning for a meeting.
I see. So
Yeah,
I want to request Professor Shrikant to put Burmese issue at the G20 any meeting
yeah,
or SCO meeting. I want to
yeah.
request to put
Definitely, sir. Definitely.
Burmese issue
I
as one of agenda, and I'm willing to advocate. This Burmese crisis. So please let
definitely,
me
sir.
know if
Definitely,
you can able
definitely,
to.
definitely. I will try at
We
my
can cooperate. This is the only channel
definitely, sir.
we have people to people cooperation between
Yes,
Burma
yes,
and
yes.
India. There are no really any channel they are seriously discussing or cooperation
It is a
between.
grave situation, and we are just witnessing the very fact that is going in Burma. I appreciate your effort that the Global Digest Media is doing, and being a voice for all the peoples from Burma. And I would like to support your cause and concern, so that if possible, I will definitely raise my voice, or I will definitely support your voice if situation allows me. Definitely.
We already discussed intellectual level policy issue and all these geopolitical issue, ideology, democracy issue. We are intellectual, academician and scholar. We talk about high level knowledge and high intellectual issue because ordinary people cannot discuss such kind of topics. So that's
They
why
have their own
we have
constraints.
to talk with intellectual people, as you are also a professor. So Professor Shikan, before we finish our discussion, you want to say anything or
With the very fact that the ongoing situation of democracy in India, in Myanmar, and throughout the world is depleting rapidly. I admit very fact that the ongoing uh, world, the present world, is rapidly changing in terms of technology and so on. There are certain mediums so that each person can communicate with others, just like internet is a popular, or it is a powerful tool that two peoples from distant countries which are suffering the same pain can communicate with each other. And I think that the tool which is connecting us can be helpful to restore democracy in Burma. I also believe that restoration of democracy, not in just merely in case of Burma, it may be the case of Afghanistan, it may be the case of Pakistan, it may be the case of Sudan, or so on. It can be helpful for the humanity in all. So I I pray the God for the very fact that there should be restoration of democracy. I would like to support your cause and concern, and I would like to conclude myself. Thank you, sir.
thank you, Professor Shikan, for
It was nice to
joining
meet you, sir.
today.
Thank you.
See you again next time. Have a good
Definitely, sir. Definitely.